You're joining me out here in the beautiful creation of God. And hello, dog. I'm making this video because with it being the day after Easter, I feel like it's important to, reflect and think about your faith life. And yeah, I'm gonna sit down. And the thing is that I used to be an atheist. I used to not believe in God at all. I used to go to church because I still went to church because my parents would just didn't, my parents we just went. That was just what we did. Even though I had no desire to, but I did anyway because my parents were going. And so, yeah, I just went to church. And I remember in this period of my life when I thought there was no God, I remember I would go to church and I would sit there and literally just look the pastor in the eye, look him in the eye, and just think to myself, this guy is an idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. This is stupid. There is no God. That was my thought pattern. And I don't even enjoy, revisiting those thoughts and those past memories because it was just such a negative time of my life where I went to church. I went in the house of God and mocked him in his house. I'd even listen to the scripture and I'd think to myself, this is all baloney. None of this is true. All of this is just, none of this happened. All of this is real. Jesus was probably never even born, let alone rose from the dead. Just such negative, sinful, horrible thoughts that a lot of people probably have had. I'm certainly not the only one who's had those thoughts. But everything changed one day. Everything changed, completely changed. And it sounds kind of silly, but it's true. I was sitting in my living room and I was watching a dinosaur, a dinosaur documentary. Those CGI shows where it's oh, here's the Tyrannosaurus Rex hunting the prey. I was watching that show. I remember thinking to myself, this is it. This is how the world really works. It makes sense. All life came from nothing. It just appeared from DNA molecules replicating themselves. That's how it all began. And I was watching this documentary and something happened in the documentary, and it was they were talking about the asteroid strike, the meteorite that killed off all the dinosaurs. It was talking about that, and I realized that in the show when they were talking about the asteroid that came down, wiped out the dinosaurs, they were talking about how if that asteroid was half a second late, or it was just slightly faster. Something just happened to my phone. But if that asteroid was just half a second late, or was slightly faster, or if the angle of how it hit the Earth was slightly off and it didn't hit the exact place that it did, I think it struck in somewhere in Mexico. If it was just slightly off, if everything wasn't exactly how it was, then the impact would not have been as catastrophic and it would not have killed the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs would still be here today if it was just slightly off angle, if it wasn't exactly how it was. The problem is, if the dinosaurs were here today, humans would probably have never evolved. We would probably have never existed. You and I, we probably would never have even taken our first breath, because all it took was just the slightest, like, couple of inches of that asteroid to not be the exact place that it was, we would not be here today. And then that got me thinking, you know, maybe the creation story isn't exact. maybe not everything in the Bible happened exactly how it happened, but the Bible isn't meant to be a literal history story of the entire world. The Bible is meant to be a book of lessons that you learn from. And I realized that the creation story is not meant to be taken literally. But the thing is, even though life evolved, and even though all that science stuff, all that's probably true, God always and always will have a hand in how that happens. And it got me thinking, there's no way that stuff happened. There's no way that everything was perfect without some sort of intervention, without some sort of control or influence. Because you and I, we would not be here if it weren't for everything happening exactly the way it needed to. And that transformed me. That transformed, like, I had such an incredible epiphany that day. And I remember, begging God to forgive me for not believing in him. Begging God to forgive my sins. My life transformed that day. And of course, everything after that, I could say it's history, right? I discovered self-improvement. I created this YouTube channel to help to spread the word of Jesus Christ to other people. But this being, the day after Jesus' rebirth, this is the day that, the apostles were realizing that he had come back to life and all sorts of things like that. And I wanted to just use this day to make an unfiltered video like this, where no format, no script, no nothing. I'm just talking to you and explaining to you my faith journey and how, my entire perspective on Jesus Christ was transformed. And you may notice in some videos that a lot of times I'm wearing a cross necklace. I'm not wearing that today. I just forgot to put it on this morning. But I wear that to remind me of the role that God plays in everybody's life. And, my self-improvement journey, my life, it all transformed because of Jesus. And, my life was not great in those dark days, but my life is better than it's ever been before now, thanks to the work of Jesus in everything that I do in all of my life. So thank you for listening to my little rant out here in the woods. I'm gonna call that good. Don't have dreams, have goals, and stay wild.